Yeah.
When you're breeding fish, it's also you have to consider it is a live animal, and if you base, as you want to diversify, right? So if you just base your entire living off of just a group of breeding stock, I don't know, things can happen. It is an aquarium, so I'm not sure entirely, but and the numbers range from person to person. Most of the fish in the United States do not, depending on the fish, don't come from the United States. I'd say like 60 to 70% of the world's supply of live fish and even corals and stuff comes from Asia.
Why? Is that just an interest thing, or is it a regulation thing? Because I would imagine the U.S. doesn't quite have, if you were breeding pigs, let's just say,
right?
I bet they would be all on that regulation. But if you're breeding cleaner shrimp,
yeah,
is there an authority that says, hey, you're breeding too many clownfish, you gotta, here's a fine? Do they do that?
Well, it's interesting. I met a clownfish breeder here in the United States, and he was doing a very similar thing. He had converted his entire backyard into a clownfish breeding farm. So he had every type of exotic down in Florida, clownfish, and the city, basically forced him to take it all down. So because one of the neighbors complained or something, and this unbelievable.
Was her name Karen? Kidding. It was a bad joke.
Terrible joke.
Sorry.
So Karen ruined everyone's clownfish in the United States. Just one more thing that awful lady has done. But the city forced him to take it down, and just this unbelievable thing he had built in his converted, it was destroyed. So I think here in the United States it's just a little different, where once you get to a certain level, it's you have to go find a warehouse, or you have to form an LLC and do things, whereas the regulations it's so especially in countries like Thailand, Indonesia, they're so unregulated, and that you can really just get away with a lot more. But I don't know. There's so many different factors, and this is what I've really been diving deep into as of the last year on my channel, is traveling to these different countries, meeting these different breeders, seeing these different facilities, trying to get a grasp for where is everything coming from. Because growing up, I've been in the hobby now for 15 years, and growing up, you walk in your fish store, you see a fish, and you're like, oh, cool, I want it. But you don't ever think about where did that fish come from? How far away did that fish travel to get to this fish store, to get to my tank, right? So I started asking those questions, and that led me to some of the most interesting places that I've recorded as videos that have done really well. That was another transition with my channel, was seeing whether people would be equally as passionate about that concept, because a lot of people just want me to, even now, just want me to sit at home and make videos about my fish and my tanks at home. So that was kind of, I think, hard for a lot of viewers, was to just see me go do that. Now I think I've been able to educate them, and I've also been able to keep it really entertaining, so that it's interesting and fun for them to learn about those things. And then I think ultimately I want hobbyists to have a greater appreciation for where all these animals are coming from, because they some of them do travel a really long ways, and when you're looking at it, you might just think about that little, and how passionate you are about your fish. If you just consider how far, they've come to get into your tank.
Yeah.